Jim Nantz has seen a lot of that history in person. He is CBS Sports lead announcer for college basketball and the NFL. Jim, welcome. I was going to start this by saying what's so great about the Final Four, but we just saw what's great about the Final Four.
Great, Pete. You got me fired up. Here we are in the stretch drive of the NFL season, and suddenly I'm charged about college basketball in this very special year.
The season is underway.
Yes, it is.
Indiana's tops and Duke is number 2 as we look at the...
And they very well could be there in Atlanta when we get to the end run of all of this. And March Madness culminates with another Final Four celebration.
This is a huge sports fan.
Well, she went to Georgetown.
Yeah, of course. That's
and I know he's a Duke man.
I know.
So, perhaps we'll have your teams down there in Atlanta.
Is it too early to be talking about March Madness?
Well, I think this year, I'm taking the temperature on it. I think there's a little more excitement this year about college basketball, Norah, than there's been in a long, long time. And this year, I think it's even going to get ratcheted up because of this very thing you just talked about, Charlie, with the 75-year celebration and all these different all-time teams, all-time players, coaches, and the fans getting interactive in it. So I'm glad we're out here talking about it because, it really captures a month. And I know it's down the road in March, but it's a tournament that really brings the country together, and I just love it.
Having said that, let's talk about the NFL.
Yeah. You're going to be the lead announcer for the Super Bowl.
And you're going to be there.
We're going to be there.
Yeah, CBS Super Bowl 47 on February 3rd. You guys are going to be domiciled there in Jackson Square, and hopefully you'll let me come by and give a little guest shot here or there as we lead up to game time.
What's the biggest surprise this season?
Well, there are a lot of surprises. First up, a lot of people didn't know going into the year, would Peyton Manning be all the way back?
And
he is putting together like another MVP type campaign. He's won it 4 times, more than any player in history. And the Broncos are going to be very much a part of the story when we get to the postseason. Last night was a huge game for our network side of it because we're the AFC network. And with Houston and New England playing and the Patriots thumping the Texans as they did last night, these very likely, they're both going to be playoff teams, of course, both in, but they could very likely be the 1 and 2 seeds. They could meet again. But that performance last night by the Patriots may have taken a big chunk of confidence out of the Texans when and if they have to meet again.
But also part of the NFL story today, we saw a cover story on Roger Goodell and what he faces as commissioner, and these awful, incredible incidents that are happening.
This has been a rough 2-week stretch. First with the Javon Belcher murder, suicide. And then that, of course, backed up this weekend with the drunk driving death down in Dallas with a Cowboy player, Josh Brent, driving intoxicated, and a teammate in the car, Jerry Brown Jr., dying in that accident. So, it's been really, the last 2 Saturdays have been really hard to get your mind around the whole thing.
A tough challenge for Roger Goodell?
Well, there's one guy I believe can handle it. Roger has always been committed to trying to really toughen up the whole sports landscape. And I think he makes decisions that transcend the NFL. And you're right, he's on the cover of Time magazine. I think a lot of people are looking at his leadership, and he's taking steps all the time, whether it's gun control or player safety. They're making steps all the time.
I've always thought that Charlie Rose has the best job in television.
See, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but you've got a pretty great job. I mean, you get to do the Masters, you get to do the Super Bowl, you get March Madness.
She's thinking about a transition from news to sports. I just want you to know.
I thought she was looking for tickets. Which one? I know you're going to be at the Super Bowl.
Masters, yes.
We have all of those events, though. Super Bowl, March Madness, and of course the Masters in a 63-day stretch coming up here shortly, all on CBS.
This is about the NCAA and the Final Four and March Madness and all of that. But looking at all sports that your eyes have seen, what's the greatest moment?
Maybe, and I know you're going to be visiting with Jack soon, but I happened to be there when Jack Nicklaus won his 6th and final green jacket all the way back in 1986. I was a young pup, absolutely shaking in my boots that I was there calling this tournament at the age of 26. And it was just magic. But there's so many, whether it's the Super Bowls, this will be my 5th one, or the Final Fours. And just want to remind everybody, we're going to get this whole 75-year celebration underway on the 29th of December. Just starting a whole series of runs of shows about this year.
Took the words out of our mouth.
Right here on CBS.
Oh, yeah, I took it right away from you. Sorry about that.
Jim Nantz, thank you.